Hey guys, my name is Marlena. Today we're going to talk about a different aspect of Young Life that we do each week called campaigners. As soon as you hear that, you may think, campaigners? You guys running for campaigns, elections? Because that's what I think about. But no, it's not anything with presidential elections or slandering others or campaigns, as you may think, but it's a campaign for Christ. In Young Life, that was one of our original slogans, is that we are campaigning for Christ and His gospel to be shared. So that's what we do. Different from club, which I talked about in a different video. Talked about how that was a big fun meeting, pretty surface level. Campaigners gets below that, and it is the kind of smaller group meeting. It has a more Bible study feel to it, and a lot of times it is in people's living rooms or people's basements with everyone's kind of sitting in a circle, so we can see each other and talk to each other. Campaigners is also leader-led, similar to club talks. It is all the leaders, and so what we do is we will write up a campaigners usually for about 30 to 45 minutes, and that involves us reading scripture, asking questions, maybe praying, getting kids' responses on how they think stuff works, and it usually is pretty casual. Again, we're never trying to act like a church in the sense where we're asking kids like, do you follow these rules? We're really asking scripture based questions, and so you'll read a verse and be like, hey, what does this mean to you? Or, how do you see this playing out in your life? And so a lot of it's applicable to them, as well as getting them to just grow in their faith and growing in who they see Jesus as. And so that's really what campaigners is. Now, it can be different each week. A lot of times, different campaigners groups will go through maybe a whole book in the Bible. Maybe it'll be topical, so you'll go over like the fruits of the Spirit, like what is love, what is grace, what is, discipline, etc. It also could be something that the leaders just, hey, this is really cool and I want to talk to you guys about it for 45 minutes, something that we personally are learning. And so it can be different each week. Springboro Young Life right now is going through Luke, and so that's been really fun. It's almost been a whole year of going just through the Gospel of Luke, and talking about Jesus' life, which has been, I think, really beneficial for our kids as well. And like I said, we try not to make it like church. We try not to, make kids think, oh, this is just another youth group thing that I can go to, check off the Christian list. This is really some place that we try to create an environment to see, do I even believe this stuff? And we create an environment where kids can ask those questions. Do you believe this? What do you think about this? Because we believe that the kids' feedback is vital in Young Life, because you don't know what's in someone's head until you talk about it. And so we really try to have those relationships that are trusting enough to talk about in a big group, and then if necessarily, of course, talk about one-on-one as well. Now, campaigners is something also kind of weird, I guess you would think, for high schoolers to go to. Like, oh, what are you doing tonight? I'm going to a Bible study type thing. Typically not the response that you would hear from a high schooler, but I think that's a really cool example of the social exchange theory in the sense that the benefits of going to something faith-based outweighs the cost of maybe being mocked for going to a Bible study on a Wednesday or Monday night instead of, that varsity game or, the other things that high schoolers could be doing at the time. And so it's really, really cool environment, especially when we can get the parents involved and thinking like, hey, we are pouring into your kids. We are teaching them about life and having fun at the same time, which is really cool. Now, campaigners is an interesting concept in the sense that you have a lot of different leaders leading it. And so, like my co-leaders can be very extroverted, very loud, very, this is the whole gospel. And then I have other co-leaders who are a lot more introverted, who really get into the intimate details of the things. And so it's very cool as you go through campaigners, is that because of just the different leading styles, you know, the topics will range. And I think it really helps the kids being able to hear from different types of leaders and different types of people who follow Jesus. That just because our faith looks different than, your friends, doesn't mean you're not Christian, which is a big misconception that honestly I've dealt with as well. And so that's pretty much what Campaigners is. It is huge small group or small group, depending on your size, that gets to talk about Jesus, gets to have those intimate conversations. Again, with the social penetration theory, is where, um, a club is a big thing, and then Campaigners is that small thing. And as you get to know people in Campaigners, you start loving it. You start talking to people more. You open more about your life, and then again from that goes the one-on-ones, which is really that dynamic duo. And so, yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell. I would say to anyone who's like, "Oh, I'm not that religious. I don't think I would want to come to Campaigners, but I like club." I'd say come. We're not asking you to be religious. We're asking you to come and learn, to have a relationship with someone, to talk about life. And I think that's a lot of what kids need these days. Is they don't need a bunch of surface level stuff. They really need to talk about life and how they feel about certain things. And that's what Young Life always tries to do. And so, yeah, that's Campaigners. Thanks for watching.